7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now live.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in this very quiet studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
It's going to get even quieter next week.
There is no one in
I
this
won't
building.
even be here.
Yeah, you won't even be here. But there's nobody. I don't think there was even a custodian
there's
around.
a custodian here.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah, I saw one of the cars out there.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, it is so quiet here.
Yes.
It's kind of nice, Pete.
Yeah, the summer camp kids aren't here yet.
Yeah, no, it's very peaceful.
Yes, tranquil.
It is tranquil, absolutely. So, Pete, it's July. So, are you done with meetings for a what? Did you have any meetings this week or?
I got 3 tomorrow.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I
had none last night.
Wow.
I was able to take the night off.
That's nice. So
Scary.
Yeah. Oh, so what do you have tomorrow? What do you have coming up?
I think I have DPW Director Search Committee, Flood Control, and CPC, I think. Community Preservation.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. So we're still looking for a DPW director, huh?
Yes.
We're not.
I think they have it narrowed down to 2.
We're not there yet. Well, that would be nice because Dave Billups has been gone since October, right?
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
And, by the way, gave 13 months notice.
Well,
yeah,
when they
I know.
combined departments, it
Yeah,
kind of
I
became
know.
a unique position.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah,
I know. It
became a thing.
It's never as simple as you think it would be. But, it is one of those things where it's not like they didn't know, he did give them plenty of time.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that people aren't thinking, well, the guy from DPW just walked out. Nope, beat, retired, gave plenty of notice. So, but I think there was a lot of back and forth about, what to do, how to handle the position and kind of what they were looking for and, and expertise too. Because I think that was, there are some, licenses that people need to have and, expertise and educational qualifications. So it can get complicated.
Yep.
I know in the building department, they were looking for some people and Carissa Lee, who is the department head in that department, was kind of schooling some of us on, how difficult it can be to find someone with the right qualifications. So,
it's not always easy in a specialty like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's challenging. Well, Pete, I mean, you're in sort of a specialized kind of an area as well. And, it's not like people are a dime a dozen.
Right.
So
no, it can be a little crazy.
Yeah, it can be a little nuts. So 3 meetings tomorrow, and is that it for you for this week?
Yes.
Do you think? Yeah.
It should be.
Yep. So tell us about your upcoming travels, Pete. You're going to be doing Babe Ruth, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
What are you doing? A World Series, right?
Yeah,
What
I'm
are we
doing
down
well.
there? What are we doing for all these weeks that you're going to be gone, Pete?
Right. So softball,
Okay.
unlike baseball spread theirs out over the country by age, whatever.
Okay.
So you host a single World Series.
Right,
Softball
right.
years ago consolidated all of them into one location.
Oh.
So we have over the 3+ weeks, because I'm going a week early to set up too.
Okay.
We have 8 divisions of softball from 8 to 18.
Wow. Okay.
So all those worlds, think about how many games we had here for World Series.
I
It was
know.
Like 35
and
or
when they
40.
did it here in Westfield, it was, what was it, like a week and a half or something like that?
It was
or
a week.
A week, yeah. So that explains it, because I was thinking to myself, wow, why is this taking so long? Okay, so it's because instead of doing it all over the country, they're doing it in one place all.
Right.
So all
and
these
we have I
girls
think we
have
have
to go down
like
to Florida.
3 or 4 divisions at once.
Okay, yeah.
So, and we have 2 complexes. So.
And how
there's
far are the complexes away from each other, Pete?
About 15-minute drive.
Oh, okay. So it's all concentrated in one area.
Sort of.
Yeah,
Sort of.
Sort of.
Halfway across the county.
Where is it in Florida, Pete?
It's in Martin County,
Where
in the
is
Jensen
that?
Beach area. So it's about an hour north of West Palm Beach.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
So we're in Martin
yeah.
County, and the county has great facilities, infrastructure. So
Oh, good.
they have fiber running to all of their parks,
Wow.
which is great for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And this year, instead of doing multi-cameras on every field, which wasn't really sustainable,
Okay.
we're going to run single cameras behind home plate like we do at Bullens and Cross Street for most of the fields, and then designate one field as a championship or special field.
So this
whatever.
is like the big field.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll put multiple cameras on that. So
Okay.
I used to have a couple of people's like a staff. And
Well, I was going to ask you.
That's
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, who's doing this with you, Pete?
and money's tight this year because
Yeah.
of obviously all the lost revenues last year for Babe Ruth because many leagues didn't play.
Sure.
So it's going to be interesting.
I don't remember, Pete. Were you down there last year at all?
No, they
I'm
canceled
drawing like a big fat blank.
Last
as
time
to
I was down there was
summer.
2019.
Okay, all right.
But
didn't
I had to
think so.
leave early for a World Series here in 2019.
Yep.
And come to find out that the people that were down there never took any of the cameras down that weren't necessarily weatherized. So we don't know the condition of any of the cameras.
Oh no.
Right. So we had to buy like $4,000 worth of cameras
Yeah.
just in case. We might
Yeah.
not even take them out of the box.
Yep.
But I also have to support a Cal Ripken Baseball World Series. I think it's 8s. Maybe it's the 12s.
Okay.
Up in Ocala, Florida, which is about a 2-hour drive north.
Yep.
And I have to support 8s and 9s or 8s and 10s in the city of Stewart, which is just literally south of Jensen Beach.
Okay, because I was going to say Stewart, Ocala, I know, but Stewart. Okay.
Stewart is so the closest cities to where I'm at are Fort Pierce.
Okay.
Jensen Beach is kind of sandwiched in the middle between that and Stewart. So,
Okay.
so I'm going to be all over the place
Yeah.
during setup, and then I'm going to make it all work, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And by that time, the Elsa will be gone, right?
Yeah, it should exit the next couple of days.
Yeah.
It'll
Whatever they're dealing.
But that's going to be on the west coast of Florida, I think.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm on the east coast.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, yeah, because they've been talking about the Tampa area, but then I'm also hearing because all of the condo stuff, the condo collapse is on the other is
They'll
on
get
your
a lot
side.
of rain.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's what they're getting.
So Miami's about 2 hours,
South.
2-3 hours south.
Yeah. Okay. I know. Yeah, I know where you are because Grace
And the
was on that side of Florida.
Space
when she
Coast
was
is
living
2
down
hours north.
there. Got it. Okay.
So it'll be busy, different kind of thing.
Now, how are you? What are you flying down, drying down? What are we doing here?
No,
Driving?
so
What are we doing?
I anticipated the shortage of rental cars.
Okay.
And I'm driving to Lorton, Virginia on Saturday, getting a hotel room overnight, and then I'm boarding the auto train.
Oh, that's right. You're going down that way. Yeah.
So my car and me are going down on the train.
That's so awesome.
Well,
I think
the
that's
cost
so great.
of renting a car right now is outrageous.
Yeah, because there's a real shortage of car rentals.
Right. Well, my
Yeah.
car was a rental car.
Yeah.
I bought it from Enterprise
Yep.
when they were dumping their cars.
Right, because
So I got a great deal.
yeah. So
Normally-
now you and your rental car are going to go on a train and get down to.
Right. Normally they sell cars after like 40,000 miles. I bought mine at almost right around 15
Wow.
because they were dumping them.
Yeah, because they needed
Now they
revenue.
can't buy
Yeah.
them.
So
Well, because there was no demand.
right, exactly.
And rather than have cars they're
Sitting
going to
there.
divest of them
Yeah.
and they don't have to make the payments anymore.
Yep. So where is Lawton, Virginia? Where is that?
Just south of D.C.
Okay. All right. So that's not bad.
No, it's like a 6-hour drive.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. About
for
6
me,
hours or
that's
so.
no big deal.
No, that's
So
that's
so I
fine.
grabbed a hotel room so I could sleep overnight down there. I wouldn't have to drive first thing in the morning Sunday. And that way I don't have to worry about if there's some major accident on the highway.
Yep, you're there.
And
You're all set.
I'm in the neighborhood.
Yes, smart move.
I'm about 15 miles away.
You'll be fine.
And if the highway's blocked, I can find some other way to get there.
You're fine. There's always going to be 15 miles is doable, Pete.
Right. So I'm
15
going to work
miles is
7 to 3 on Mount Holyoke next week and then just hit the road and get
Okay.
there around 10, 11, sleep for a couple hours and take a shower, get breakfast or lunch and hit the train.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we'll miss you. So we're going to be doing some best of shows, and then we have some other shows up our sleeve for folks at the end of the month.
Yeah, we recorded something.
We did. So we should be all set with that. All right. So let's do a famous birthday here before we get too far into this. So today is July 7th. It is the birthday of George Cukor, film director born on this date in 1899 in New York City. He passed away at the age of 83 in 1983. George Dewey Cukor mainly concentrated, he was a film director, and he mainly concentrated on comedies and literary adaptations. His career flourished at RKO when David O. Selznick, the studio's head of production, assigned Cukor to direct several major films, including What Price Hollywood back in 1932, A Bill of Divorcement in 1932, Our Betters, and Little Women. Those were both done in 1933. When Selznick moved to Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, that's the one when the movie comes on and the big lion is on there. In 1933, Cukor followed and directed Dinner at 8, David Copperfield, Romeo and Juliet, and Camille. He was replaced as one of the directors of Gone with the Wind, but he went on to direct The Philadelphia Story, Gaslight, Adam's Rib, Born Yesterday, A Star is Born, and Bhowani Junction. Cukor achieved one of his greatest successes in 1964 with the film My Fair Lady. The film was a box office hit, which won him the Academy Award for Best Director, the Golden Globe Award for Best Director, and the Directors Guild of America Award after having been nominated for each several times. So happy birthday to the late George Cukor. Now, I'm going to guess that that Bob Plass and company are very familiar with George Cukor because he did a lot of films, and he was also quite prominent back in the day in the gay community. At a time, he was born in 1899, so that's at a time when nobody was really talking much about it. But apparently, he would. He hosted a lot of social gatherings on Sunday afternoons just so people had a place to go. So he was quite famous, I found out as I researched this. And the other thing that I thought was interesting about this was that initially when the critics saw My Fair Lady, they were not they did not give it glowing reviews. So
really,
yeah, they didn't. They had some negative things to say, but again, it was a box office hit, and I guess in the end, they kind of had to eat their words. So happy birthday to the late George Cukor. We'll do one more before we take a break. It is also the birthday today of Richard Starkey, drummer, singer, but we know him better as Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr is 81 years old today. He was born on this date in 1940 in Liverpool, England. And I learned a lot about Ringo Starr. This was really interesting. So you'll have to share some of this with Buster McMahon when you see him, Pete. But Ringo Starr was a sickly child. He spent a total of 3 years in various hospitals and sanatoriums. One of the ways that the staff tried to distract and occupy their patients was to have them form a band. And it was here where young Starkey first discovered percussion, using a woolen mallet to strike the cabinets next to his bed. From then on, despite musical talent with other instruments, he was a drummer. In 1962, he officially joined the Beatles. The Beatles' single, Please Please Me, made the group a pop sensation in England. With their mop-top hair and matching suits, the Beatles crossed the Atlantic Ocean to launch their own pop invasion of America in 1964. Beatlemania was in full force during their first U.S. television appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show. Ringo Starr was known for his strong drumming talents, but he also assisted in the group's creative process and was a key ingredient of the group's emotional stability and good humor. Unlike past drummers who remained firmly in the background, Ringo Starr was seen as an equal part of the Fab Four. Despite not being a songwriter of the same caliber as his bandmates, he was always featured on one song on each album, and he was quite happy with that arrangement. His unique style of drumming was an integral part of what made the Beatles so iconic and would influence future generations of drummers for decades to come. After the Beatles broke up in 1970, Ringo Starr embarked on a solo career. He was the one Beatle who continued to work with each of the others. He drummed on albums for Lennon and Harrison, and he and Harrison co-wrote the hit single, It Don't Come Easy. The key to his success, it seemed, was a combination of his charisma and a rock-solid group of collaborators. The same personality that made him the glue that held the Beatles together for so long is what drew other artists to him. So happy 81st birthday to Ringo Starr. I understand from what I read about him, he was quite easygoing, kind of the
Quite the character.
Yeah, quite the character and quite easygoing in the group, and just an all around likable kind of a person. So happy birthday to Ringo Starr. Okay, let's take our first break. It is 6:16. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses, and WCPC Cable Channel 15. So in honor of the birthday of George Cukor, film director of My Fair Lady, we are going to listen to the song With a Little Bit of Luck from My Fair Lady. We'll be back.
The Lord above gave man an arm of iron so he could do his job and never shirk. The Lord above gave man an arm of iron, but with a little bit of luck, with a little bit of luck, someone else will do the blinking work. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of luck, you'll never work. The Lord above made liquor for temptation, to see if man could turn away from sin. The Lord above made liquor for temptation, but with a little bit of luck, with a little bit of luck, when temptation comes, you'll give right in. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of luck, you'll give right in. Oh, you can walk the straight and narrow, but with a little bit of luck, you'll run amok. The dental sex was made for man to marry, to share his nest and see his food is cooked. The dental sex was made for man to marry, but with a little bit of luck, with a little bit of luck, you can have it all and not get hooked. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of luck, you won't get hooked. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of blooming luck. The Lord above made man to help his neighbour, no matter where, on land or sea or foam. The Lord above made man to help his neighbour, but with a little bit of luck, with a little bit of luck, when he comes around you won't be home. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of luck, you won't be home. They're always throwing goodness at you, but with a little bit of luck a man can duck. Oh, it's a crime for man to go philandering and fill his wife's poor heart with grief and doubt. Oh, it's a crime for man to go philandering, but with a little bit of luck, with a little bit of luck, you can see the bloodhound don't find out. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of luck, you won't find out. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of blooming luck. A man was made to help support his children, which is the right and proper thing to do. A man was made to help support his children, but with a little bit of luck, with a little bit of luck, they'll go out and start supporting you. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of luck, they'll work for you.
He doesn't have a tuppence in his pocket, the poorest luck you'll ever have to meet. He doesn't have a tuppence in his pocket, but with a little bit of luck, with a little bit of luck, he'll do enough to raise his street. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donuts shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:21. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So, Pete, are you like kind of packed and ready for this, month-long adventure that you're going on, or will that?
I have stuff organized in piles
Okay,
that have to be loaded into the car.
Well, that's fine.
Because I'm bringing down a lot of equipment with me, too.
I was wondering about that.
A lot of stuff we ordered because we changed the philosophy how we're doing things.
Okay.
But by going from the 3 cameras to the single camera, because before we used to have a computer switch at every field.
Mm-hmm.
And we burned out a lot of switches because there wasn't a lot of ventilation in the lock boxes out at the field.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So now we're changing to a single camera, so I don't need a switch anymore.
Okay.
And we're going to a fiber media converter, which is just a little box instead of a big one. And it's
Okay.
be a little bit different. So we had to order some stuff.
Yep. So you've got to take that all down. You have all that
Yes.
stuff here.
I wanted to make sure it all came in because normally when you ship it down there, you have to give it to Park and Rec. We have a good relationship with Park and Rec, but sometimes things get lost.
Absolutely.
And since I have a large amount of volume in cargo space, I can ship it all in my house.
Good.
Make sure it all comes in, and then bring it with me.
Okay. Good enough. So you're getting there. You're doing well.
Trying.
You're
trying.
You are trying.
And then this weekend would be my mom's birthday. Is my mom's birthday, so we're going out tonight because I don't have meetings tonight.
Yay.
So we're gonna get that taken care of.
Nice.
Take
So
my mom to Wahlburgers.
Now, where's Wahlburgers?
At the casino.
Oh,
They just
okay.
opened it,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go to the casino for a little while afterwards, and then just kind of celebrate her birthday that way.
Good. Oh, well, happy birthday to Mom. I would have put her on my famous birthday list. I didn't know.
That's okay. That's okay.
All right.
And then it's trying to find a time to see Christy before I leave too. That's gonna
know.
be. We'll have Friday night, and then Saturday she's getting ready for her daughter's graduation party from high school. So,
Okay.
So I'm not.
And
gonna
how old
sit-
are her girls now?
Almost 17 and 20.
Okay. Yeah. Challenging ages,
Right.
just all the way around,
Yeah.
I mean, in a lot of ways, it's challenging for them. I
Yeah.
mean, you're kind of.
And Dad's still in the picture, but
okay.
they clash. The girls and him clash because he's dad and they're
Of course.
girls.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and
I get it.
They clash with Mom, and
Yep.
now they're getting older and doing their own thing. So
Yep.
it's transition period.
It is. It is. It's those 20s, I call them the turbulent 20s because there's a lot of changes that happen in people in their 20s, and they're not quite adults, but they are adult. They are, but they're not, and
Right.
And
I was trying to get her to come down to get her out of the loop for a little while.
Yeah.
But this might be the last gasp at a vacation with her daughters.
Yeah.
So they're going to go to Lake George while I'm gone.
Well, it's so funny,
Which
Pete,
makes it easier.
That comes full circle too, because there was a time when your kids don't want a vacation with you because I'm an adult now and I want to be with my friends, and then somehow eventually I've noticed with my own daughter, but also with relatives that we have, the kids kind of come full circle when they get into like their 30s. Hey, do you want to go? Let's all go to the beach together. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for one thing, sometimes at that point they've got kids of their own, and it's like, hey, Grandma and Grandpa, want to come? You can watch the kids while we go out for dinner.
Right.
So there's
my mother
there's
did a
some
lot of
that
at
Yeah.
Disney. Yes.
Sure, absolutely. It's like, okay, so hey, you know what? It's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. So it all works. It's all good.
Yep.
All right. So we have some stuff going on at the Senior Center today that I want to make sure that I let people know about. First of all, Carol Palmer is teaching her totally fun fitness class outside under the tent, but it's early. It'll be cool. She's teaching it from 9 to 10. We did have signups for this. However, if you really want to come and participate, just come, because it's outside. We can accommodate more people. It's $3 for the class. Again, it starts at 9 o'clock, so I get there just a couple minutes early. Please remember, folks, as you're coming over to the senior center, that the new entrance is at the far end off of Murphy Circle. And when you come in for any program, just immediately go to the right. You'll see a small sign that says program parking, and then just park anywhere along the spaces along Noble Street. So that's just kind of the easiest thing to do right now. We're just trying to keep the cars kind of away from the tent. The staff cars are over, by the tent, which is why I think some people get confused. It's like, oh, well, the cars are all over there. Yeah, that's just us. We're parking as far away from the building as we can so we can leave the closer spaces for our seniors. So anyway, that's this morning. And Carol, right now over the summer, is only teaching that class the first and last Wednesday of the month. So if you miss today, you have to wait until the end of July. So please join us. Please join Carol.
You can always catch it online.
You can always catch it on television. Although, Pete, somebody reported to us that that she said it wasn't on. Yes, was it yesterday that it was supposed to be on, or the day before? Monday.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, that was correct. Okay, because somebody who does it religiously, so she ended up. I think this is so cool, though, Pete. One of our viewers, one of our seniors, does one of the exercise programs every single day. Now, some days we offer, you air more than one program. So Monday, Carol's wasn't on, so she did Gary and Grace's program.
Right.
But I just think it's so great that people are taking advantage. It's so perfect. We love to hear those things. But anyway, come on over this morning. Carol will be doing it in person. And then the other big thing that's happening today, chair yoga is returning to the senior center next week. I have so many people that have been asking when we'll be doing it. And it will be our first fitness class that we'll be offering inside in the fitness room, because chair yoga is offered in the afternoon. And we're not going to have people under the tent at, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, either in the middle of a thunderstorm or just in the middle of a heat wave. So those classes will be inside. Now, you have to sign up, and sign-ups are today. This afternoon, we're doing them curbside. You won't even have to get out of your car. All of this is in the July newsletter. So whatever class, we're doing a 3-week session in July and a 3-week session in August, because that was when our chair yoga instructor can be with us. So for any of those sessions, each person can sign up for each session if they want to, if there's space available. Space is limited, obviously. And you're going to put your money in an envelope, and on the outside of the envelope, you're going to put which session you want. If you want to do both of them, you're going to be handing me 2 different envelopes. It sounds a little confusing, but for us, it'll make the paperwork a lot easier, because I'll have Mary Lou outside with me, and she will be recording all of this and letting us know, how much availability is left and so forth. So if that is something that you're interested in, signups are today we'll begin at 2 o'clock in the Senior Center parking lot. I'm really, really hoping that today's thunderstorms are like yesterday and they come later in the day and we're done with this.
That was pretty vicious for a while there.
Yeah, I know. It was a little crazy, but came later. So Mary Lou and I kept looking at the clock going, okay, we're really hoping tomorrow that things are just like today. If they're coming, that they come later in the afternoon. And we don't think it's going to take us that long to do the curbside signups, because things move along. You don't have to get out of your car. So if you have any questions about that before this afternoon, you can give us a call at the Senior Center at 562-6435, and either Mary Kohut, who answers the phone, or Mary Lou or I can give you the details. The cost is $20 per session, so $20 for the July session. There are 6 classes, and $20 for the August session. And again, there are 6 classes, and all of the dates are in the newsletter. The July session actually starts next week, so we are busy getting the fitness room ready. We are breaking down what we had ready for a vaccine clinic, and now, sort of redoing it to get back to somewhat of, whatever the new normal is, I guess. So that's happening.
It's normal.
Yeah, well, we're getting there. Second hour today, I just wanted to mention that it is the first Wednesday of the month, and that means we have our resident chiropractor, Dr. Gary Gorman, will be joining us second hour. I don't know, Pete, if I'm ever going to be able to get Gary back in the studio. He really loves doing this telephone thing. It just really works out with his schedule. So.
Phone doesn't work, sorry.
Yeah, we'll get him back here at some point. But he puts in a full day over at Strength for Life on Wednesdays. So he's a little bit, running a little bit ragged in the morning. But anyway, so that will be coming up. Right now, it is 6:30. You are listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses, and WCPC Cable Channel 15. And in honor of the birthday of Ringo Starr, I decided not to choose a Beatles song, and I actually chose.
Technically, this is a Beatles song.
Is it a Beatles song?
It was on the White Album.
But he's
This is his song.
This is his version of the song that I found solo. So
I found the Beatles version of it.
oh, that's all right. It's okay. That's fine. Either one is good. So this is the song "Don't Pass Me By."
He's featured in the song, though.
Right. Okay. Featuring Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses, and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning. Solid.
Yes.
Doing a solid for the seniors today. So
what's up?
After Totally Fun Fitness and after where is it at? After Ed Bentley, the Generation Gap,
Yep.
I'm running the Wyben 4th of July Parade, covered by Harry and Ann Rock.
Oh, that's so great. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, my seniors will love that.
I told Harry I wasn't available, and Kenny wasn't available either, and he had to learn how to run the camera.
No kidding.
So he and Ann figured it out together.
They did it.
And Harry did interviews, and Ann ran the camera, and Harry goes, and then he sat down with me and edited it yesterday. He watched me edit it and put it together, and he goes, "Wow, I would have shot it completely different now watching you put this together."
Yeah.
I would have shot things differently,
Mm-hmm.
and I was trying to get people, and the parade was starting, and I said, "Harry, if people want to talk on camera bad enough, they will come back afterwards."
Absolutely.
And interview with you, and then we
Absolutely.
can insert it. And he goes, "I didn't know that," and I was running around, and he was like all concerned about it. I'm like, "No, get the parade,
Yeah.
and then watch how we insert stuff."
Yeah.
And it all makes sense now. And I'm like,
but that's how you learn, Pete. I mean,
that's what I told him.
That's how you learn. That's why this is so great.
That's the whole point of public access.
Yeah.
It's like training community members. Like I could train you how to do something if you really wanted to cover something at the senior center.
Yep.
It didn't take Harry very long. I let him borrow the camera for an extra week.
Yep.
Just to play with it at home.
Oh, how fun.
Right.
That's great. And a shout out to Harry Rock, because what would Westfield be without Harry? I mean, he is just.
Well, Harry's a great volunteer, period.
He is an awesome volunteer.
Yeah.
He is so wonderful. I can't say enough about him. And I didn't know Harry at all. Well, obviously before I took my job, because I wasn't working in Westfield, but even early on, because Harry was still over at Springfield College when I first started. He had already left the Y. But it wasn't until after he retired, and then we got into the 350th, and then we got into the, doing the radio show. And then, of course, after the 350th was over, I sweet-talked Harry into joining the board of directors for the Friends group, and he's just wonderful. And, that's a great board. Patrick Berry's on that board. They have such great ideas. And, when they say they're going to do something, they do it, which is, I have great board. My boards, both of my boards, my Council on Aging board and my Friends board, they are all people that I can count on. They're not talkers, they're doers. Like they come up with the ideas, but then they are right there to hold my hand and do it with me. So, so thank you, Harry. That's great. And
So, I have a couple of really good volunteers.
Yeah.
Kenny's wonderful.
Oh yeah, Kenny. You can't
Jay's
say enough
wonderful.
about Kenny. Yep, and Jay. Yeah, exactly.
So, Kenny, I'd like to hire part-time, and now that's going to be a possibility.
Oh yay, we're keeping our fingers crossed on that.
And then there's a couple of students that are really good that I'd love to hire as part-timers too. So
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect.
Eventually, I'd love to get another full-timer down the road, but I got to justify that by saying, hey, look at all the part-time hours I had to use.
Yep, exactly. It's all part of the process, Pete.
Oh, I know.
It's all part of the process. All right, today is July 7th. It's the birthday of figure skater Michelle Kwan. She was born on this date in 1980 in Torrance, California. She's 41 years old today. Michelle Kwan is probably one of my favorite figure skaters ever. She is so graceful. She's just like a swan out there. Michelle Kwan began skating when she was 5, entering and winning her first figure skating competition 1 year later at the age of 6. She finished 8th in the 1994 World Championships at the age of 13, earning a spot as an alternate for the 1994 Olympic Games. Not long after her first foray into the Olympics, Kwan began a dominant force in the world of figure skating. She captured the world title in 1996, 98, 2000, 2001, and 2003. At the 1998 Olympics, Michelle Kwan was favored to win gold, but ended up with a disappointing silver medal when fellow U.S. skater Tara Lipinski took a surprising first place. 4 years later, at the 2002 Olympics, the gold medal eluded her when she finished 3rd to win the bronze. Michelle Kwan enrolled at the University of Denver to complete her undergraduate degree, and in 2009, she went to Tufts University for a law and diplomacy master's degree program. She took a break from her studies to serve as a television correspondent for ABC for the 2010 Winter Olympics, and after completing her degree, Michelle Kwan continued to pursue a career in diplomacy. She currently works in the U.S. State Department's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. So happy 41st birthday to figure skater Michelle Kwan. So lovely. I remember when she lost to Tara Lipinski, and everybody was just, Tara, you can't take away anything from Tara Lipinski. She's an awesome skater. But it was really sad for Michelle Kwan. So anyway, but she's a fighter, and she has, went back, finished the degree, got another one, pursuing all kinds of great career things. So
there you go.
It is also the birthday. Okay, this one I had to throw in there for Gary because Gary went to chiropractic college in Davenport, Iowa. And this next famous birthday, this person was born in Davenport, Iowa. And I have to ask Gary when he comes on the show later. I don't ever remember hearing about this guy when we lived out in Iowa when Gary was getting his degree. So it is the birthday of the late Otto Frederick Rowetter. He was an engineer born on this date in 1880 in Davenport, Iowa. He passed away in 1960 at the age of 80. So Otto Rowetter first had a brief career as a jeweler and became the owner of 3 jewelry stores. He used his work with watches and jewelry to invent new machines. Convinced that he could develop a bread slicing machine, he sold his jewelry stores to fund the development effort and manufacture the machines. In 1927, Rowetter successfully designed a machine that not only sliced the bread, but wrapped the bread. He applied for patents to protect his invention and sold the first machine to a friend and baker, Frank Bench, who installed it at the Chillicothe Baking Company in Chillicothe, Missouri in 1928. The first loaf of sliced bread was sold commercially on July 7th, this day, back in 1928. Sales of the machine to other bakeries increased, and sliced bread became available across the country. In 1930, Continental Baking Company introduced Wonder Bread as a sliced bread. It was followed by other major companies when they saw how the bread was received. By 1932, the availability of standardized slices had boosted sales of automatic pop-up toasters, an invention of 1926 by Charles Strite. So I love that sort of, that chain reaction of, oh, well, now we have sliced bread, so now toaster sales went up.
Welcome to the industrialists.
I know. I think I'm just amazed at people who invent things like this, because it's like, how did you come up with the idea of, we need a machine that's going to make bread slices all the same? Before that, you just cut a slice of bread, made it as thick or thin as you wanted it. In 1933, bakeries for the first time produced more sliced than unsliced loaves of bread. So that was 1933. So that was only 6 years after he came up with this machine. That same year, Rohwedder sold his patent rights to the Micro Westco Company of Bettendorf, Iowa, and joined the company. He became vice president and sales manager of the Rohwedder Baker Machine Division. So happy birthday to Otto Frederick Rohwedder, engineer, designer, and manufacturer of the first bread slicer. I think that's a great story. But I don't remember, when we lived in Davenport, I don't remember hearing about him. And so let's see, we'll do one more birthday. This is my last birthday for today. It is the birthday of Doc Severinsen. Remember Doc Severinsen, band leader, trumpeter for The Tonight Show? He was born, he was born on this day in 1927 in Arlington, Oregon, and Doc Severinsen is still alive. He's 94 years old today. I think that's so cool. Doc Severinsen began playing the trumpet as a child and was in a high school band when he was 7. Hello. These people with this talent, it's just amazing to me. At 9, he won a state trumpet contest. At 13, he joined a multi-state all-star band. In 1949, Doc Severinsen landed a job as a studio musician for NBC, where he accompanied Steve Allen, Eddie Fisher, Dinah Shore, and Kate Smith, and was a member of the original band for, the show was called Tonight, starring Steve Allen, and was the soloist playing the closing theme. He left the show with Steve Allen in 1957. At the time, the leader of the Tonight Show band, Skitch Henderson, asked him to return as first chair trumpeter in 1962 for what had become The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. And 5 years later, Doc Severinsen was leading the band. Under Severinsen's direction, the Tonight Show band became a well-known big band in America. Severinsen became one of the most popular band leaders, appearing almost every night on television. He led the band during commercials and while guests were introduced. He joked with Johnny Carson, the show's host, and developed an amusing habit of wearing gaudy clothing. I had forgotten about that till I read it, and I went, oh, that's right. He used to have these jackets that were, crazy. And outrageous. Yeah, really outrageous. The show introduced a comic. This I thought was hysterical. I don't remember this, Pete, but it said the Johnny Carson show introduced a comic segment called Stump the Band, in which audience members called out the titles of obscure songs to see if the band could play them. Severinsen often cried to the band, "Key of E," and that was his signal for the band to strike up a Western theme, and then he would enthusiastically sing a country music-flavored nonsense song. Severinsen substituted for Ed McMahon on occasions when Ed was absent as Carson's announcer and sidekick. He typically assumed this role when the show featured a guest host, which obviously became increasingly frequent during the program's later years. Doc Severinsen continued as band leader until Carson's retirement in 1992. So happy 94th birthday to band leader trumpeter Doc Severinsen. Pretty cool. All right, gaudy clothes and all. It is 6:47. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. And in honor of the birthday of Michelle Kwan, we're going to listen to the song Fields of Gold by Sting. So let me just tell you a little bit about why I chose this song. I remember at the 1998 Olympics when Michelle Kwan was heavily favored to win the gold, and she didn't, but she had already chosen this song for the Olympic exhibition. With skating, they do when, at the last day of the Olympics or the end of the Olympics, whatever it is, they'll do an exhibition with the skaters, and it's just kind of a fun thing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, she performed to this song, and I remember by the end of the song, she was in tears. And, I'm sure there wasn't a dry eye in the audience. I mean, everybody, I think, felt for her. But it was a gorgeous performance, just beautiful. So we're going to listen to Sting singing Fields of Gold. We'll be back.
The sun in his jealous sky as we walk in fields of gold. So she took her love for to gaze a while upon the fields of barley. In his arms she fell as her hair came down among the fields of gold. Will you stay with me? Will you be my love among the fields of barley? We'll forget the sun in his jealous sky as we lie in fields of gold. West wind move like a lover's soul upon the fields of barley. Feel her body rise when you kiss her mouth among the fields of gold. I never made promises lightly, and there have been some that I've broken. I swear still left, we walk in fields of gold. We walk in fields of gold. Summer days among the fields of barley. See the children run as the sun goes down among the fields of gold. You'll remember me when the west wind moves upon the fields of barley. You can tell the sun in his jealous sky when we walked in fields of gold. When we walked in fields of gold. When we walked in fields of gold.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:52. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15 My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So, Pete, today is National Strawberry Sundae Day, and I think it's going to be a great day because it's hot and humid, and I think we're expecting some more thunderstorms this afternoon.
I may have to go for an ice cream later.
Yeah, there you go. So let me give you a little bit of background because there's a little controversy about this this day.
Okay.
So on July 7th, it is time to indulge on National Strawberry Sundae Day. Each year on this day, Americans combine vanilla or strawberry ice cream, strawberry sauce, fresh strawberries, and whipped cream. Make several strawberry sundaes and enjoy this delicious treat with friends and family. While the oldest known record of an ice cream sundae is in Ithaca, New York, Ithaca, New York advertisement, the originator of the dessert is coolly debated. On October 5th, 1992 ad in the Ithaca Daily Journal spelled the ice cream treat with the conventional day of the week spelling, Sunday, S-U-N-D-A-Y. However, Two Rivers, Wisconsin claims that druggist Edward Berners served the first ice cream sundae 11 years earlier in 1881. According to that story, customer George Halhauer ordered an ice cream soda on a Sunday. Now, since ordinances at the time prohibited the sale of ice cream sodas on the Sabbath, Berners came up with a compromise and served the ice cream in a dish, minus the soda. He topped it with chocolate syrup and called it a sundae. Ithaca's claim to the ice cream sundae takes place at Platt and Colt Pharmacy in 1892, where Reverend John M. Scott stopped to order a bowl of ice cream. When Chester Platt, the proprietor, began preparing the ice cream for his customer, he didn't just stop at a couple of scoops of vanilla ice cream. He drizzled cherry syrup over the ice cream and topped it with a bright red candied cherry. The dessert looked and tasted so delightful, it required its own name. Since the day was Sunday, it was named for the day it was created. Ithaca also has historical evidence supporting the story, including an advertisement for a cherry sundae. While an origin for the strawberry sundae hasn't surfaced, it isn't a stretch to imagine a strawberry replacing a cherry, or strawberries topping chocolate. Celebrating sundaes with strawberries and whipped cream just seems worthy of a holiday, no matter who created it. So happy National Strawberry Sundae Day. And yes, it's time for all of us to have some ice cream today. Okie dokie. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening at the Senior Center before we bring Dr. Gorman on in a few minutes. I mentioned this morning we have Carol Palmer doing Totally Fun Fitness. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have our mail call class. I've noticed that class is beginning to grow. That class is offered from 8 to 9 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The guys in that class are so dedicated, and we talked about, it's like, gee, that's actually before we open at 8 o'clock in the morning, but they love the time. That's when the instructor can do the class. Michelle Urbanski teaches the class. She's fabulous. She teaches over at the YMCA. And she is just fabulous. So it's $5 a class, and it's pay as you go. And we are now eliminating pre-sign-ups, so there's no pre-registration for it at this point because we have a pretty good handle on the numbers. It's kind of an all-around fitness class. It's only for men. I'm sorry, ladies, but I had to do a class just for men in order to get them out there. So Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 9. You don't have to sign up in advance. Just come on down to the Senior Center. I would get there a few minutes early because you do have to they use all different weights. So anything from, smaller 1 to 3 pound, 8 pound. I think most of the guys use the 8 pound weights, but we have 10. We have some 15 for those that are a little bit more ambitious and a little bit more ready for that.
Can the guys bring their own if they have them?
I suppose they can. We don't have, none of them have, but I suppose if they have their own weights, hand weights, and they want to bring them, absolutely, why not? Okay. For sure. They also use stretch bands, and we have, different sizes. And so, everything that we ordered, Pete, were things that the instructor asked us to order. Okay. So, it's all done. But I have to tell you, I ran into Tommy Curran over at City Hall a couple of weeks ago, and Tommy's an avid, YMCA fan. He works out there all the time. And he said to me, I heard that Michelle's teaching a class at the senior center. You better not steal her from the Y. And I said, no, she does both. And I said, we have it worked out. We're second fiddle. So her Y schedule is her primary schedule. Well, we work around that. So I said, Tommy, not to worry. But he said, she is so great. So that's there. And then also on Fridays, we have line dancing every Friday under the tent. That one is $3, pay as you go. And again, you don't have to pre-register. I've noticed the numbers are starting to creep up on line dancing. As long as it's out, we're doing it outside. We don't have a cap. It doesn't matter. We have a whole parking lot that we can use. You don't really even have to be under the tent. You can be somewhere near the tent. Once we bring it inside, we're going to have to limit it a little bit more because it can get pretty crowded in the fitness room. But anyway, right now, so for the summer, under the tent, Fridays from 9 to 10, $3 a class, and again, no sign-ups. Come on over, enjoy. It is so fun. I got to tell you, when I retire, I'm going to take up line dancing. I've done a little bit of it. I love their music. A lot of it is country, but they have great music and they have so much fun. It's like a big fun party over there in the parking lot every Friday morning. So join the fun. All right. So that's what we have going on outside. And I did want to, hold on, because I did want to go over a few things inside. Tomorrow we have bingo inside. I'm trying to find my little cheat sheet here. Because I want to make sure I get the time right on that one. Where am I, Tina? Bingo. Where is bingo? There it is. Okay, we have gift card bingo tomorrow. This Friday, tomorrow's Thursday. This Friday and the following Friday. So July 9th and July 16th. Bingo is from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Again, you don't have to sign up in advance for it. And the winners get a gift card to a local business. And I want to thank some of the city councilors who sponsored this month's bingo. So we got lots of gift cards for folks. City councilors Jim Adams and Rick Sullivan, those are at-large councilors. Ward 4 Councilor Mike Burns and Ward 2 Councilor Ralph Figge and Ward 6 Councilor Bill Oniski. So they were my city councilors when I reached out to them and I said, anybody want to sponsor bingo this month? And those guys jumped right to it. So I so appreciate it. Thank you. So all of the winners get gift cards. On Friday afternoons, we have the quilting group. And again, you don't have to sign up for that. They meet from noon to 3 o'clock in the Creativity Center. They each work on their own projects, but, they kind of help each other out, give each other advice, share ideas about colors and patterns and things like that. So that's just a really nice group. It's a small group of women right now, but we could certainly have men in there. So that's on every Friday in the Creativity Center. It's nice and cool in the Creativity Center. The Sassy Stitchers are currently meeting on Wednesday afternoons from 1 to 3. So they'll be at the Senior Center this afternoon. Again, no pre-registration. They're working on their own projects. We also have some yarn at the Senior Center. And if you're just learning, if you want to learn how to knit or crochet and you don't really know how to do it, there are some really fabulous people in that group that can get you started and help you out. They've done it before. They're really a nice group of women. And then Thursday afternoons, we have our Art Unlimited class with Elaine Lees. That meets from 1:30 to 3 o'clock in the Creativity Center. Again, it's nice and cool in there. Elaine typically starts the class with sort of a short lesson. But again, everybody's working on individual projects. And, all of these kinds of classes, the idea behind this is we're a senior center. We're not a school of art. We're not a school of dance. We're not an Olympic team or anything. So, these are for if you just want to try something because you've always had an interest. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be good. You don't even ever have to have done it before. So please, feel free to join us. We are starting to really kind of get back and have people in the building. I do want to remind people, and I brought my sample with me. We have an updated release of liability and usage form. So now we used to have a release of liability for those who took fitness classes. Now we have it for everyone. And basically, honestly, folks, I don't want somebody to come back and blame the city because they got sick or they got hurt or whatever. We do, and this is what I tell people all the time, the staff does the very best they can to keep you as safe as possible. We are doing all of the protocols, especially, in this almost post-COVID era. We do all the protocols in terms of cleaning and sanitizing and all of those good things. So we are keeping you safe, but you need to keep yourself safe as well. And my advice is get vaccinated. There's no excuse not to if I don't want to get into the philosophical piece of it, but in terms of availability, it's here for you. You can go to any of the pharmacies. If you're homebound, call the senior center. We'll connect you. We'll get you registered. Because I noticed today's front page of the Republican, I guess they closed the mass vaccination site over in where was it in Springfield? Eastville Mall.
Yeah.
So that is officially closed.
Well,
now.
They're so widely available.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
crazy.
Get it anywhere. You can get it on any street corner. So participate. All right, it is 7:03. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses, and WCPC cable channel 15. We're going to take our top of the hour break. We'll be back.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com. Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:07. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So I realized after I gave my litany of all of these different programs and activities that I left one off because it was on a separate page. So I definitely want to make sure that I announce that we also have a chess group that meets. We call it Chess with Les because the person who came to me many years ago about starting a chess group was Les Hutton. Les used to teach over at Westfield State University. He was a professor in the history department, but he's also a chess guy. And I understand there was a resurgence of chess during the COVID pandemic. I don't whether that was it was either tied to a television show or a movie. I don't know if you know. I heard a lot about that. And in fact, I think Christmas of must have been 2020. Yeah, it was Christmas of 2020. You couldn't get a chess set to give to someone because they were all sold out. So there has been this, this resurgence of chess. But our group has been meeting on Monday afternoons from 1 to 3. Again, they're in the Creativity Center. And the chess group, they're maybe like about seven, eight, something like that. Depends, It's such a great group because they're so quiet. You could hear a pin drop when you go in there. They're studying the board. I know. It's so great. But listen, again, if you've never tried it, the group will teach you. Les is really good at instructing, so it's for beginners. And then if you just want to come and, if you're a regular chess player, there will be somebody there that you can play with. But I noticed this time around we have more beginners now, which is really fun. They're learning the game, they're learning the strategies. So that's Monday afternoons. We're actually going to be switching. That's Monday afternoons in July. Starting in August, we're going to switch that to Wednesday afternoons at 1 because we have to do some program changing around now with some of our cleaning protocols. So as we scale up operations, especially next month, there may be some changes to some of the programming. But right now, during the month of July, the chess group meets at 1 o'clock on Mondays. Again, I know I've mentioned this before, but for those who are concerned that as we scale up operations at the Senior Center, we're going to discontinue Channel 15 programming, fear not. We will not discontinue. Those programs will continue. And this month, we have a couple of things that we're featuring on Channel 15. Pete mentioned one before, which is the concert that the Generation Gap is doing. That's Ed Bentley and Company. It's called Musical Reawakening. Local singer and songwriter Ed Bentley teamed up with Ron Capagna and Vinnie Pagano to form the group The Generation Gap because it's multiple generations. We have some young, some older. And that's aired on Channel 15 on Wednesday afternoons at 2:40 and Saturdays at 6 o'clock. And that concert will go July and August. So that's our summer concert that we're doing on air. And then we have a presentation. I haven't heard this yet. I'm so anxious to hear it, Pete. And I forgot to tune in yesterday. I got really tied up yesterday afternoon in a meeting. Mm-hmm. That is a presentation that Judge John Graney gave on the path to same-sex marriage in Massachusetts. Many of you know that Judge Graney he's a local Westfield person. He served lifelong resident, served on the Supreme Judicial Court in Massachusetts, and he was instrumental in passing the same-sex marriage legislation. So he made the mistake of mentioning to me that he had done a presentation recently on this, and that he would be happy to do it at the Senior Center. And I said, "Oh, why wait? Why wait for that? Let's do it for Channel 15." So he was gracious enough to come in. Harry Rock interviewed him, and that is the featured presentation on the Westfield Council on Aging Presents series, which is aired Tuesday afternoons at 2:45. So tune in to that. That's on Channel 15. Of course, all the regular fitness programs are on Channel 15 as they have been. That schedule has not changed. And as Pete said, he's throwing in a bonus this afternoon with the 4th of July Wyben Parade that Harry and Ann Rock were at. So
it'll pretty much be its debut today.
Yeah, so that's exciting. I also want to announce that the Council on Aging Board of Directors meetings are resuming in person this month. So we will be meeting Monday, July 12th at City Hall, room 201. We are in the process of
Just needs a second reading.
It does need a second reading. So we are in the process of moving those meetings over to the Senior Center, but there is a process to go through. I know I've had a couple of people say, oh, is the next meeting at the Senior Center? Not yet. It passed the Legislative and Ordinance Committee with a favorable recommendation, went to the council for first reading, but because it's an ordinance change, we have to go through 2 readings. So we have to wait until council comes back into session, which will be at the end of the summer. They'll do the second reading. I don't anticipate any problems. So probably this fall, we'll be able to start having those meetings at the Senior Center. So that'll be a little bit more accessible for the seniors.
Yep.
Also, next Wednesday, July 14th, is our brown bag food distribution program between 9 and 10. Please be respectful of that time frame. And also, just so you know, you do have to apply for the brown bag program. So I know we've had some people that kind of show up, oh, we understand, it's food distribution. But there is an application. We have the applications at the Senior Center. We're happy to give you one. And then the application actually gets mailed to the Western Mass Food Bank, and they process all that. And then they put your name on the list, and then we get the list each month. So it does change periodically. I mean, we have some people that have been on the list for a long time, but we keep adding people. And so if you are interested in the brown bag program, you can contact Karen Noblet at the Senior Center, and we can always mail you the application. Okay, so that's next week. All right, I think that's it. I have one other thing that I want to say before we take a break, and hopefully Dr. Gorman will be on with us right after that break, because I heard this again yesterday, but that's not what the other senior centers are doing. So, in both the June and July newsletter, I had an article on the comparison of all of the senior centers. I know what all the senior centers are doing. I know what all the senior centers in Western Massachusetts are doing because the directors meet virtually every other Friday. So we are very much up on, who's doing what. Nobody just threw open their doors and said, okay, everybody back in. Everybody's kind of doing this slowly, gradually in their own time frame with direction from their respective mayors, town administrators, city council, selectmen, boards of health. And we have a lot of people giving us a lot of guidance and advice here. And that's why we're not all doing exactly the same thing on the same time frame. I believe, though, that pretty much by September, we will all be, full steam ahead. How we get there is a little bit different. Agawam's a little bit different than Westfield, which is a little different than Southwick, which is a little different than West Springfield and Ludlow and Holyoke and Chicopee. But we're all pretty much on the same page. So you don't have to compare us and tell me, but, they're doing this over in I know what they're doing there. But we're also all sharing resources. So
welcome to the world.
Yes, exactly. So I had somebody telling me that, well, Agawam, they opened up their pool tables. That's true. And do you know that yesterday I provided medical equipment for someone from Agawam because Agawam's not doing medical equipment right now. They're not there yet. I'm not there yet with pool tables. So, we're all getting there, folks. It's just going to take us probably another month, 4 to 6 weeks. And then I think we'll all pretty much be on the same page. It is 7:15. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses, and WCPC cable channel 15. Dr. Gorman will be joining us when we come back, but we are going to listen to, in honor of the birthday of Otto Frederick Rohwetter, born in Davenport, Iowa, and the inventor of the bread slicing machine, we are going to listen to Johnny Cash singing the song Breaking Bread. We'll be back.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'd been doing it that way up until this last time. I just felt like changing it all of a sudden. I don't know why. Okay, tempo.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Breaking bread, breaking bread. We are gathered here together to break bread. breaking bread, breaking bread. We are gathered here together to break bread. It's not the barley or the wheat, it's not the oven or the heat that makes this bread so good to eat. It's the kneading and the sharing that makes the meal complete. Breaking bread, breaking bread. We are gathered here together to break bread. Breaking bread, breaking bread. We are gathered here together to break bread. Upon the water bread is cast. The last is first, the first is last. For everyone who eats this bread, there are thousands, maybe more, that will be fed. Breaking bread, breaking bread. We are gathered here together to break bread. Breaking bread, breaking bread. We are gathered here together to break bread. Breaking bread, breaking bread. We are gathered here together to break bread.
Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:20. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
And on the phone this morning, we have Dr. Gary Gorman, WSKB, WCPC resident chiropractor. That's what we like to call him. He is with Strength for Life in East Hampton. Good morning, Dr. Gorman.
Well, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you this hot, steamy, and sticky morning?
Well, I have not ventured out yet, so I will find that out when I get there.
So you're doing great right now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So Gare, today is, I love this, today is National Father-Daughter Take a Walk Day. Pretty cool, huh?
It is pretty cool, yeah.
All right, so that's going to be the topic of conversation, and we're going to get into both the physical and the health benefits of walking, but we're also going to get into a little bit about, relationships and conversations that fathers and daughters and grandfathers and even, just adults can have with their children, both young children as well as their adult children. So we're going to kind of tackle this from a couple of different directions. So I'm going to start by just giving you a little bit of background about National Father-Daughter Take a Walk Day. So why don't we start there? How's that?
That sounds great.
Okay. National Father-Daughter Take a Walk Day is observed annually on July 7th. This day promotes the benefits of family bonding time between fathers and daughters, as well as the benefits of physical activity. The memories made during your time together will stay with you forever. During the summer season, there are many incredible places to walk and enjoy nature as you spend time talking, laughing, and bonding. While taking a stroll, cherish the time spent together. Your child will value the gift of your time no matter how old they are. As you're walking, you will also be setting an excellent example of a healthy lifestyle, which is another valuable gift. Walking is one of the best exercises and the easiest to incorporate into a child's life at a young age. Set a pace that's comfortable for both of you. And remember, walking is something the whole family can do together, so don't be surprised when the rest of the family asks to go for walks too. Father-daughter walks can be as long or as short as you like. Walks around your neighborhood helps you increase interactions with your neighbors. Another great place for walks is along local walking or hiking trails. These well-marked trails offer a little bit of nature while keeping walkers from getting lost. During inclement weather, indoor walking tracks take the place of the sunshine in parks. However, if there's no lightning or thunder, take an umbrella. While walking in the rain with your daughter, take in the cleaner air, and especially if they're little, splash in some puddles. Besides walking, start a conversation with your daughter. Subjects vary depending upon your child's age, of course. However, your child usually knows where to take the conversation. If you are both at a loss for words, we're going to discuss some conversation starters. These topics will not only help you to get to know your daughter better, but they will help her to get to know you as well. Your guidance and time help your daughter to learn self-respect, determination, and perseverance. Fathers sometimes don't realize just how much a daughter looks up to them and cherishes their attention. So happy National Father-Daughter Take a Walk Day. So, Gare, your thoughts?
Well, you know what, I think this is it's a good place to start with your daughter. You know, Grace is 30. We started at a very young age, not necessarily walking, but I remember taking her up to Northampton and rollerblading with her when she was like 4 or 5 years old, and you know, starting off with something, you know, just one-on-one. I think it's easier at that age to get for us to get Grace out doing things because she was always wanting to do something, you know. So, but as she has gotten older, I think the advantage of doing this is that trying to engage in a conversation with a 30-year-old when their nose is in their cell phone and they're watching TV and they're scrolling through social media, the last thing they want to do is to engage in any conversation or do anything to distract them or take them away from what they're doing. So when you go for a walk, you know, right from the get-go, you start to have their undivided attention. So it's, you know, you leave the cell phones home, you just go for a walk, and they seem to be just, I can only speak for Grace. Grace seems to be more receptive to begin to engage in conversations that ordinarily become a little bit more of a struggle when there's other distractions that you're trying to break through, you know. So I think that's a good place to start, you know. And you know, again, not only, you know, you're talking about the conversations and where they start. Well, you know, they'll let you know pretty quickly which conversations are not going to start.
Yes, yeah, exactly,
you know?
yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know, it's like, well, no, I don't want to talk about that, or they change the subject pretty quickly. But for us, you know, like you could talk about, do you want to go to the Nike outlet and go buy a pair of Nike shoes? She's all over that and kind of starting the ball rolling from there. But I think really, you know, the breaking away and kind of creating a neutral zone, so to speak, is I feel that's critical in a starting place for any kind of conversations. And you let, you know, I would let Grace go, or you let your daughter kind of start the ball rolling, and you know, you engage in the conversation that they began more than anything.
I think, and I think, you know, taking this sort of broadening the scope of this conversation to not just fathers and daughters, but just adults and children of whatever age. I mean, you know, you can be talking about a 3 or 4 or 5-year-old all the way up to an adult child. I mean, who will always be your child, even though they're no longer a child. But I think just that taking that piece of a physical activity, walking is one of the kinds of physical activities where you can engage in conversation at the same time. I mean, if you're playing a game of tennis, or you're, even if you're cycling, if you're riding a bike together, it's harder to engage in a conversation, especially if you're in, one in front of the other out on a main road. So, or running even. I mean, for me, running is like, I'm just working on breathing, never mind trying to have a conversation. I can listen if I'm with a really good runner, but, it's hard to engage in conversation. So I'm getting all kinds of, are you okay over there, Gare?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. I'm getting all kinds of weird noises in the background. But anyway, I think that again, I think that walking really helps to facilitate the conversation. So whether it's a grandparent and a grandchild, or a parent and a child, and whether it's fathers and daughters, mothers and daughters, mothers and sons, fathers and sons, whatever, or even more of a group, kind of a group walk. There are a lot of opportunities for both the physical piece of it, as well as just the relationship building piece of it, I guess is how I would word it.
Well, I agree, and it's more important for young children who don't necessarily have that affinity for exercise and sports and things like that, who tend to be more inactive or sedate in their interest,
Yes.
Reading or artwork or computer games or whatever goes on today. It's that is again the physical component of walking, the exercise and the fresh air and just the stretching and flexibility, and that is important too. I think hiking is nice because you can engage in just what you see while you're on the trail, and there's nothing planned or canned, as far as conversations are concerned. You just kind of get out there and observe and say, gee, look at that, look at the water, boy, how high or low it is, and gee, did you see that deer run through, or this, or listen to the bird or whatever. So, I mean, they're hopping on places to engage in some sort of conversation, but nothing more. You are getting some nice exercise, and it's one-on-one time, which oftentimes is challenging in our busy lifestyles today, too.
Yeah, you're right, Garen. I really love the fact, I hadn't really thought about this until you just brought it up, but I really like the fact that you said, some kids just aren't, they're not like organized sports kind of kids. They're not going to join, the baseball team, the football team, the basketball team, the track team, or whatever. That's just kind of not them. But you're right. Walking, pretty much anyone can do that. So it is a way to get, children who might otherwise be more apt to be, kind of the couch potato, or just doing something that's less active. As you said, it might be artwork or something that's beautiful, but it's not, it's not building up your cardio at all. So certainly walking, and especially with, with an adult. And I also love the relationships that I have seen form between grandparents and grandchildren. So I think that this is another opportunity, for grandparents to get out there and take a walk with either one or more of your grandchildren. I love the idea kind of that one-on-one. I've had some, I've heard some really amazing stories from our nieces and nephews, Gary, especially on your side of the family, with just some one-on-one interactions between the kids and when your parents were living, one or both of your parents. And I think those are, that's kind of what memories are made out of. I think those were special times. So this is not just about fathers and daughters. It's also about grandparents and grandchildren as well. So let's take a little break. What I want to do for, when we come back is talk a little bit about some specifics of some conversation starters. Sometimes it is challenging for the adult to say, like, I'm not sure what to talk about, or, and so there are some, some easy questions to start the conversation, especially if you're going after, one or another sort of end goal. So we'll talk a little bit about that. when we come back. So the song that I've chosen is Walk a Mile in My Shoes by Joe South, and that is because of our guest topic today. We'll be back.
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here.
Saturdays were made for polka. Tune in to the Polka Jammer Network starting at 6 a.m. and Polka Hall of Famer Billy Bellina, Breakfast at BB at 8:30.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:36. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. And on the phone this morning, we have our resident WSKB WCPC chiropractor, Dr. Gary Gorman. Good morning again, Gary.
Well, good morning.
So let's talk a little bit about some conversation starters that either parents or grandparents can have with their children. And I want to start with, one that I think is pretty easy for kids and even adult children, because I actually recently had this conversation with my 30-year-old daughter. And that is to get them to talk about their best friend. Who's your best friend? Why is he or she your best friend? And what are the kinds of traits that you look for in a good friend? What do you think is an important quality for a friend to have? And I think that's one of those things. And Gary, I know you and I have talked about this with our own daughter, but sometimes it's interesting to get their take on it. What do you think, Gary?
Yeah. Well, I agree, because as adults, we're looking at relationships through a totally different lens than our children are. And, we don't see the day-to-day activities that children of all ages engage in with their friends. We just oftentimes we only hear the so-and-so got in a fight, or so-and-so did this, or, some of the downsides of things. And as an adult, we're going, why are they friends? What is she seeing so-and-so, or what is she seeing? It's kind of like, oh, my God, there is just way too much baggage there. Why don't you just drop this kid and move on, But there are reasons why, I think we only see small portions of the big play, and it's good to reaffirm or have them reaffirm why the friendship continues to develop. And, these are conversations. In our situation, I don't get into this kind of stuff with Grace too much. I mean, ours is very much more superficial fluff stuff. You tend to get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty of things, which is fine. That's fine.
I think as parents, especially when our children are younger, and as grandparents, we're concerned about, we've all heard the term peer pressure, and we get concerned about our kids like getting in with the wrong crowd. And so I think this type of conversation really helps kids to refocus on what is it about this, quote, best friend. Is it a best friend because she's the most popular kid in the school and I want to be hanging out with the most popular kid in the school, even though I don't like her, really, or even though she lies or she cheats or, whatever. So I think, you know what I mean? I think this is an opportunity to help young children and even older children to figure out what is important in a relationship. Gary, you and I had said for many years when Grace was younger, friendships are really important to her. So if she makes a commitment to a friend, she had always kept that commitment. So, even if it was, well, on Saturday afternoon, so-and-so and I are going to, whatever, go to the mall or, go ice skating or whatever it was. And inevitably, at the last minute, so-and-so would bag out of it. Well, something else came up, or, well, my family said, we're going to do this or that and the other thing. And it was just always crushing to Grace. We kind of, I think one of the things that she looks for in a friend now is somebody who kind of goes by their word. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. And I think that's really important to her. And I think that's, we have kind of then coached her to say, as you are choosing your friends, choose them carefully. Look at why exactly you're drawn to this person. So
no, I agree. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it's in our situation, it seems as though Grace has always been the better friend than the friend she is friends with. Because again, you're right. Once she commits to something, she commits to it, and I think being an only child, she was probably oftentimes bored, and because there's not other stimulation in the household, so consequently she was always looking forward to outside stimulation and something to look forward to, and then setting herself up for disappointments in a lot of cases because friends of hers would break dates and all. So yes, it's really that's important.
And I think the other thing as a parent or a grandparent, in terms of sort of guiding your child through this is you're also doing things like, she would say, I was supposed to do something with so and so, and then now she's got to go to her, she has to go to her uncle's house for a dinner or something, and it was sort of trying to say, okay, that's a legitimate, maybe that was a last minute family decision, or maybe her parents hadn't told her that they were going to Uncle Joe's for dinner. And so, that's okay. It's if they just decide, no, I don't want to hang out with you, I'm going to hang out with so-and-so, that's where you have to start to question, well, is that really the kind of friend that you want to have? Because you want to have the kind of friend that you want to be. And if you're committed to the friendship, then those are the kind of people that you want to hang around with. So that's one thing. And again, I think that parents and grandparents can really, to kind of if you can get your child talking about that at any age, whether it's a 6-year-old or whether it's a teenager or whether it's, somebody who's in her 20s or 30s, that's one. Another one is family relationships. How does the child, again, whatever age, feel about the family? And I find this really interesting, again, with my own child, with Grace. But, what's your favorite thing about your family? What's your favorite? We talked about this with Grace recently, like what's your favorite family tradition? And it's amazing as parents and grandparents to find out what your children think about in terms of tradition. Right, Gare?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember. What did Grace say?
Well, the thing that's so funny was, we did this a couple of times, but the one story that I had, and, sometimes teachers will do this in school, write about your favorite vacation, what did you do this summer? And I remember when Grace was, I think she was in like the 6th grade, she had an English teacher, and they had to write about a favorite family tradition. And so they did, and I didn't know about the assignment. You and I, Gary, didn't know about the assignment until we went to whatever, it wasn't back to school night. It was the one later in the year, like in the spring, whatever, open house. So, of course, the teachers have all of the kids' work, hanging up on bulletin boards and on the wall. So there's artwork. And, well, there was this essay. So I read the top of it, and it says, at the top it was, my favorite family tradition. So of course you're looking for your child's. There's, 20 different, essays hanging on the wall. So I'm kind of reading, Christmas, Easter. I love it when my family, we all open gifts. And so I finally find Grace's, and I'm thinking, okay, so, I'm figuring Christmas, Halloween, that's a big one. No, Grace wrote about our summer tradition of when my niece used to visit and the family would watch Top Gun. Do you remember that, Garrett?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was this whole thing. And it was in detail. I mean, she outlined, like, my dad we'd all go downstairs and watch it on the big screen, and my dad would blast the music when it first started. And then, halfway through the movie, we would get our ice cream. And, she listed, like, who had what kind of ice cream, who was there. It was my niece and Grace and a couple of our neighbor friends that, the kids would come over. And it was in such detail. And, you think to yourself, wow, I didn't realize this was such a big deal to her, but it was. I think, and I think at one of our COVID sort of holiday services that we did, and I think that was a Christmas one, and we talked about, our favorite Christmas, just a Christmas that stood out, whether it was a tradition or whether it was something like that. And, again, it's just, these are really good things, I think, for parents and grandparents to hear, because sometimes what we may think of as being insignificant, our children see as very significant.
Right.
Right?
Right. Oh, no, I agree. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think it's our responsibility, going back to experiences and friends and disappointments and all, as parents, you need to let the emotions kind of dwindle down a little bit, because there's obviously some upset and frustration involved. But then you just have to break it down and go, okay, what would happen if, all of a sudden Uncle so-and-so invited us to their house and we had to go, and, you made a commitment. So there's reasons why things happen, and you use them as teaching moments. You know, once they get over the disappointment of the fact that they were going to be playing with whomever, and that date was broken. So, I mean, I think, it is. And some children are more vocal than others as far as that's concerned, but that's another one. And I think one good question on this list is, what should we do more of as a family? You know, I think parents oftentimes dictate, we're going to do this today, we're going to do this today, we're going to do this today. Well, what do you want to do today? You know, and you know, let them decide. Well, gee, let's go up to the duck pond at Stanley Park, or let's go ride our bikes someplace. You know, what are you excited about? Or let's, you know, whatever it is. But I think it's really giving your child a little say in the event or the activity, the family activity, is also important. I think you're right, Gary. You know, that conjures up a memory for me when I was a child, and I don't know how old I was. I'm thinking maybe 7, 8, something like that. My family, my parents took all 4 of us, the kids, roller skating. You know, we went to a roller skating rink. I don't even know where it was around where we lived. I loved it. I'd never done it. I never had outdoor roller skates. So, you know, I went, and I took dance lessons when I was a kid. So I had, you know, pretty good balance and so forth. I just loved it. And I can remember for, I think, 3 years after, we went on a Sunday afternoon. And I can remember for many years after that, just every Sunday, I would think, oh, I hope my parents say we're going to go roller skating today. I just had so much fun. But in my family, it wasn't, you know, we didn't really suggest, oh, let's do this or let's do that. It was just, as you said, you know, it was kind of like the parents kind of dictated, okay, you know, today we're going to do this, or we're going to go visit grandma and grandpa, or we're going to go here, we're going to do this or that. And I think, you know, had I spoken up and said, you know, that was like the most fun I've ever had in my life. Can we do it again? And I'm sure that my parents would have said, sure, we can do it again. I mean, you know, but I didn't vocalize that. So I think as a parent, I love what you just said, Gary. I think to be able to say to your kids, hey, you know, we have a Sunday afternoon or we have a Saturday evening, you know, let's discuss some ideas. Let's come up with some choices and some options on what we might want to do. I think getting your child's input on that would be really helpful for sure. There are some other things. We have a whole list of conversation starters here, but you know, I like the one under gratitude. You know, sort of teaching your children about gratitude. And I love this question: what are some things that are easy to complain about, but we're actually lucky to have them? Because it makes kids look at things in a different light. You know, for example, they use the example of, you know, it's a rainy day. Well, I can't do anything. I can't go outside. But of course, you know, it helps the gardens grow, and, you know, it helps keep our grass green, and we all need water, you know, things like that. And I think too, kind of getting your children to think about, what do you have that not everybody in the world has? You know, we take so many things for granted. I mean, plumbing, indoor plumbing. Not everybody has, you know, bathrooms. I mean, you know, toilets running, you know, they've got, you know, there are places in the world that are, you know, much, you know, that have much less than we do, just in terms of the conveniences. So sometimes getting your children to think outside of that is really important as well. All right, let's take a break. We are talking about the benefits of walking, and especially walking and conversation at the same time with our children and our grandchildren. So we're going to listen to Katrina and the Waves singing Walking on Sunshine. We'll be back.
And I just can't wait till the day when you knock on my
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join me, Tina Gorman, each week from 6 to 8 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday, when my guests and I discuss health, wellness, and lifestyle reimagined.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:54. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host. And on the phone this morning, we have Dr. Gary Gorman, a chiropractor with Strength for Life in East Hampton. We're discussing the benefits of walking, but particularly walking with your children, your grandchildren. It is National Take a Walk with Your Father, Daughter, Take a Walk Day. So we're celebrating that as well. Welcome back, Gare.
Thank you. You know, I was thinking about it during the song, and I think one thing is also important to keep in mind is that, you know what, when you're going for a walk with your child of whatever age, just being with your child with absolutely no agenda can be as fun and as important as trying to get information from them. You know, you don't need to have a conversation. You're just spending time together, and I think that's important. I don't think we need to have this, you know, this hidden, what can I get out of my child today kind of thing. I think just being together and let things unfold and not push or force conversations is also just a critical tip to put out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think that's important as well. But I think that sometimes parents and grandparents, you know, sort of feel like there's this awkward silence. And some people are less comfortable with the quietness. Some people are fine with it. And so I think some of the ideas that we're talking about today, we're not suggesting that you pump your child for information, but just maybe a few, you know, I mean, you can talk about one of these things or, you know, bring up one topic and just see where it goes. Chances are when you bring up something, you know, there may be very little in terms of answering the actual question, but it may lead to something else. And that's what these are. They're just really conversation starters. But, you know, some kids are, especially young children, are just enthralled, especially if you're out doing a little bit more of a nature hike or maybe on a bike trail or something like that with, you know, a caterpillar that they see or a bug that they see and, you know, a spider with a web or something like that. And yeah, as you say, Gary, you don't need to have much conversation other than, wow, look at that busy spider, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, you're letting Mother Nature come to you. You know, just kind of take advantage of what you see along the journey, you know, along the walk, you know. And as kids get older, I mean, when you're trying to entice your teenager to do something, you know, the M&M Trail has like 36 sections from the Connecticut-Massachusetts line to up into the Massachusetts-New Hampshire line, and it's broken up into sections. So, I mean, you know, you could set a family goal of over the next 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is, let's walk all 36 sections of this trail. Some are more difficult than others, and it takes a little long logistics to put a car at the start and a car at the finish because it's not a down and back or out and back trail.
Yeah, I gotcha.
To point A to point B, it's an origin to destination trail. So, but it's, you know, something like that would be kind of fun. You set yourself a challenge to do that. I know some people are going to want to hike all the peaks in New Hampshire. There's like X number of peaks in New Hampshire. You know, you have Mount Katahdin, Mount Washington. You know, the Seven Sisters. You know, there's a bunch of these different mountain ranges and stuff in this area here to kind of, you know, set it up where we're gonna hike sections of the Appalachian Trail, you know, which runs right through Massachusetts. So, you know, it's all based on the age, you know.
Well, it's based on the age, but it's also based on, you know, kind of where you go with this. I mean, and you can, you know, you might start with taking some strolls around your neighborhood and end up saying, well, let's go to another neighborhood. And then, well, let's go to, you know, the Ashley Reservoir, and let's go to, I mean, it can really blossom depending on you and your child or grandchild or children or grandchildren, or how many other people get involved. Because, one of the things that we talked about was, it could be that people are, kind of like, oh, are you two going for a walk? Do you mind if I come along? Well, sure, come on over, come on in. The more the merrier, sort of thing. So it can definitely take on a life of its own, which is sort of what you hope might happen, right?
Right. Yeah, of course.
From a health and wellness standpoint. So, yeah. So, lots of ways to start the conversation. If you are looking, if you have, as a parent or grandparent, if you have an end goal in mind, I kind of want to know who my kid is hanging out with. Again, you have to kind of tread lightly. You don't want to say, hey, listen, I'm worried about you hanging out with the wrong group. But, you can kind of start subtly, as Gary said earlier, let the child sort of lead the conversation. So take your cues from the child. Generally, the less you say, the better. So once you dump out a question, just let them take it from there and see where it goes. I think that's probably your best bet. And you'll probably learn things about your child and your grandchild. And you know what? Don't be surprised, too, if they ask you questions back. And that's great, too, because that's a way for them to know a little bit more about you. And I think that's always beneficial as well. They may have questions about, when you were a kid or when you were in school or, your first job or whatever. So, don't be afraid to share. All right. It is 8 o'clock. You are listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. Thank you, Dr. Gorman, for joining us this morning. I know you're often running to the office this morning, so have a great day. Stay hydrated. I keep telling everybody it's hot and humid out there, so make sure you're drinking your water.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
All righty. Thanks, Gare. And folks, we have some best of shows coming up in the next few weeks while Pete is busy Babe Ruthing down in Florida. We have a taped show at the end of the month, so we will see you next month. Have a great summer.